Okay, as we get into lesson 19, we have another song to look at. This is, I'm looking at my notes here, song number 8. This may be a familiar song to some of you. This is actually the state song of Florida, where I spent 32 years before moving up here to the mountains in Asheville back in 2017, right at the beginning of 2017. So there's a few things that we're going to be encountering with this particular song. This is another one of those songs that needs to have a bit of a swing feel to it. If you play this exactly as it's written here in the lead sheet, it's going to sound really stiff. And so you'll find out when we switch to the overhead camera and I show you how to play this, it has to have that swing feel, just like when we played Joshua Fit the Battle of Jericho. So remember our method now. We're going to start by playing through the chords. And one thing I want you to notice with this song is up to this point, we've been playing a new chord basically at the beginning of every measure. Now, obviously, every song is not going to have only one chord per measure. And you'll find that in this song, we now have an instance where we have to change chords in the middle of the measure. So watch out for that. Also, this song's a little bit longer. It's a little bit more complex, but hopefully you'll have a lot of fun learning how to play it. So, let's switch to the overhead camera, and now we're going to learn how to play Way Down Upon the Swanee River. All right, we've got one more sample song for you to look at. This is song number 8. This is the state song of the state of Florida, Swanee River. Couple of more things to look at here. Once again, we're in the key of C, but you'll also notice that this is a more complicated song. The rhythm is a little bit more complicated. It's also a longer song. And you'll also notice, once again, this is a song that requires that swing feel. If you play the melody exactly as written, sounds a little bit stiff. But if you play it with a little bit of a swing, every time you see those groups of eighth notes, now it sounds more like what you know. You'll also notice, once again, we just have our 3 basic chords, but sometimes the chord changes halfway through the measure. And then back to C, and then G7. And so sometimes you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it should be obvious to you by now that not every song is only going to have the chords change at the beginning of every measure. Sometimes it's going to change on the 3rd beat, and then later on when we get down to the last line, you'll notice it changes on the 4th beat. So let's play through it, and I'll explain as we go. We're going to have that swing feel. The rhythm's a little more complicated, so take your time and don't feel like you need to rush through this. I'm going to play it at a very relaxed tempo. Now watch out here. Now, I didn't play that very well because I tried to talk and play at the same time. And unlike what you see in the movies, I don't do it very well. So we're going to start at the second half of the song, and I want you to notice it's going to start on the G7. Da, da, dee. And then watch what happens here. 1. The G7 comes on beat 4. 1, 2, 3. Now, once again, here's one of the beauties of this style of playing. If that's too fast, then just shift the G7 over one beat. Once again, either way, you're using the music, remember, as a guide at this point. We're not playing classical music. You're playing Swanee River, which is definitely not a classical piece. So you can do it two different ways. You can play it this way. I'll start from the middle of the song. One, two, three, four. Or you can do it this way. And a 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Once again, you can experiment with this, play around with it, play it fast, play it slow, play the melody an octave higher. However you want to do it, as long as it sounds good, it is good.